There we go. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, time for Periscope. We have to talk quiet because the kids are sleeping. Hi, y'all. Hi, Kathy. Well, some of you are familiar with what I've been talking about for the last few days.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, honey. Thanks for joining, and thanks for the hearts, y'all. So I asked Brittany to just share a story tonight about when a serious health issue occurs, or when the announcement comes that there's a serious problem. There's a legitimate concern, like literally there is something going on. What do you do? Right when that announcement is made, right when you hear the diagnosis, you have a choice, either faith or fear. And I did never experience this to the extent that Brittany has experienced it. And you just never know what life's going to bring, do you? You were worried when I was late. I know. I had to wait till Brittany was ready to go because I really wanted to ask her to share this story. So we sort of had to get everything settled for her to be able to do that. But y'all, it's really worth it. So Brittany, can you just tell us a little bit about when you got the announcement of Faith's heart condition?
Okay, but first I want you to repeat kind of what you've been saying about constructive concern.
So yes, we have destructive worry.
Yeah.
Or constructive concern. Those are the two choices that we have in the midst of that situation. So we've got to really take seriously the concern that is at hand. So we've got a constructive concern. We have a serious issue that we can't ignore. It becomes a real matter of prayer, but no need to go into panic praying because we know that we can trust God in the midst of this situation. However, there are legitimate concerns. So, but the immediate response and then the response throughout is what makes all of the difference. So tell your story a little bit.
Okay, so in 2013, Faith's 2.5 now. With Faith, my 2.5-year-old, at my 20-week anatomy scan, ultrasound, they told me that she had a TOF heart defect. And I remember when they were just scanning over and over her heart, and they kept looking at it for a really long time, and I was like, does everything look healthy to you? And the doctor just saying, well, we're just looking to make sure everything's okay. And so at that point I knew that there had to be an issue because they were spending so much time on that area. So after the appointment, after they were all done looking at her, they took us back and told her that, well, they have, she does have a TOF heart defect, and this is what this means, and this is how a normal heart works, and this is how her heart is working. And so kind of,
Did your stomach just drop? I mean, at that point, you're probably just in complete shock.
Yeah, and what the first thing I asked her actually was, does this mean that I can't have a home birth and that I'm now high risk? And she said, yes, you are definitely high risk, and you'll have to deliver in a hospital, and she may have to have heart surgery right after birth. And so when she said that I was no longer low risk and that I was high risk, I just started bawling. I just started crying. I mean, I was planning on a home birth for her, and obviously you plan on everything being normal and low risk.
Right.
And then only a week later we moved and
from California,
across country.
From California to Texas.
Yeah, we moved. And I was really thankful that that the Lord knew exactly where I needed to be during this time. And especially in the area that we live, we have the best hospitals, the best doctors, high-risk doctors, heart surgeons, everything. And plus I could have help with Anderson and emotional help and all that, and prayer support and everything. And so when we left the appointment, I think Andy and I took Anderson to the park, and we're just like, letting him have fun while trying to figure all this out. And I remember we were in the car, and I was just saying, this girl has to have a strong name. Like, she needs a strong name.
Is that when you found out that she was going to be a girl at that same scan?
Yeah, we knew that. They confirmed that it was a girl. And I said, she just needs a strong name. And I just felt like the Lord had put in my mind, I just kept hearing faith, faith, faith. And not only were we going to have to be in a season of complete faith, but I just wanted her to be full of faith as well. Anyway, so the Lord really named her Faith, and her middle name, Anastasia, is after my grandma, but it also means resurrected one and revive and restore. And so I was just, so both those names put together is exactly who she is and just what we were believing for her. And I'm not one to like share, health issues or anything on the internet or anything like that. Give other people worry. I don't want them to feed my worry or my fear.
Right.
And so I was just focused on praying over her, laying my hands on her, and just speaking, you are complete, you are whole, the Lord has made you perfectly, and just like praying and praying and praying, just healing over her. And in doing so, you don't have the worry because you're praying faith over her. You're just praying prayers of healing and faith and restoration and just all those things. And so anyway, and then 3 weeks later,
you guys trusted God instead of worrying. Was there any? Okay, thanks, Sam. I'm not familiar with that, but whenever you just continue to trust God, even in the midst of a fear-producing situation, and you don't let the anxiety overwhelm you of the announcement or the diagnosis.
Well, and I could have easily gone with, oh my goodness, she's gonna have to have heart surgery after birth, and just like fear, worry,
panic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, panic, and but in this case, I knew that she's still growing, she's still developing, she's not completely developed yet. Like, the Lord is still creating her.
And he's not done knitting.
And I kept saying that, like, wait, he's not done. Like, how do they know?
How do they know that she's a heart problem when she's not born yet?
Yeah, like, she's not completely formed yet. Don't say that. But I did take the steps to research an OBGYN and heart doctor, cardiologist, cardiothoracic surgeon, all of those things. And I did meet an OBGYN and cardiologist. And so I had made those steps, but I was also very active in praying for her healing and just being full of faith. And I gave the burden and stress to the Lord, yes. And, and if he wanted to heal her in the womb or when she was born or after or whatever.
Anytime.
And so actually 3 weeks later, at 23 weeks, I got I met with a midwife, which I was like, why am I even doing this? So I'm having an interview with her. Like, I can't deliver at home anyway, so what's the point? But I just felt like I should go anyways and just talk to her. It was a step of faith, yeah. And just talk to her and see what she said. And I went to her, and she was a very prayerful woman, and she was a believer as well. And I just told her, what I had just been told two weeks prior, and she just immediately began praying with me and wanted to feel the baby, and she put her hands on the baby and was praying on her, praying over her, and just everything. It's going to make me emotional.
Making emotional, think about it.
And, I'm pregnant again. And so thinking about that. But, and she gave me the number of a doctor that could possibly be with us at the birth center or at home and then transfer the baby. So she even said that could be an option depending on what he said about what her heart looked like and how severe it looked like, we might be able to have a home birth and then transfer her right over. And I was, that just gave me a lot of hope, that there were more than one option and that I had options. And so I went and I saw him, and he did the ultrasound, and he was looking at her heart, and it looked so big on the screen. I mean, you could see every valve clicking, you could see the blood flowing. I mean, it was just amazing how well you could see it. And my previous appointment, they were kind of having a hard time seeing her. Not that they were wrong, but they're kind of having a hard time seeing her. And this time,
he's a
so
specialist,
clear.
so he hasn't.
But they were specialists too.
They were, but he had even better equipment, right?
Well, I mean, she was just bigger, so her heart was just bigger, and he could see everything more clear. Anyway, so he went over her heart, and I'm just like, what does it look like? So I've been praying for 3 weeks nonstop.
You were needing this.
And I just wanted something to look better. And so he's like, who did you go see? And I told him, and he's like, I don't see anything wrong with this heart. This looks like a perfect heart to me. And I was like, what? So you're saying that I'm no longer high risk and that I'm low risk? And he said, yeah, you're low risk. You can go on with your birth plan. And I was like, oh my goodness, I could not. I mean, obviously,
that's all you wanted. That was the desire of her heart, was to have that home birth. I mean, that was the main desire of her heart. Obviously to have a healthy baby, but to have a healthy pregnancy and a home birth. So in Texas, they just moved here. So this announcement was huge.
It was so
huge
big.
Answer to prayer, literally the biggest miracle. So huge.
And
the biggest miracle you'd ever personally experience or in our family. Just huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was able to have my home birth, and she was perfect.
And the birth was perfect.
The birth went flawlessly and great, and everything about it was great. And when they checked her heart, for her newborn scan right when she was born, she did have a little bit of a murmur, which is the noise of the blood rushing through the heart, which you're not really supposed to hear. It might mean there's a problem. It might not mean there's a problem. And so they said, so we kept checking on it, went to the doctor, and he checked it, and it was pretty loud. And he had said, we might want to get an echo for her, an ultrasound over her heart for her in the next couple of months, and just keep watch on her and all that. It wasn't too alarming, but it was enough to want to get it checked out. And so we waited until she was 9 months, and so we had the echo, and they said that she had a VSD heart defect, which is that it's a hole in between the right and left ventricles of the heart, which is one of the 4 problems in a TOF.
So 3 problems were healed, and there was only one little problem left.
But I was just really thankful, and she ended up having heart surgery at almost 18 months old. But I was so thankful that number 1, I was able to have a home birth and with great midwives and everything, and number 2, that our first year was not tampered with, that I was able to breastfeed her for a whole year, and just have bonding time and all of that. And she was older and bigger.
She wasn't as traumatized.
Yeah, that she could recover really quickly from her heart surgery. So,
So she had open heart. So she had open heart surgery just a little bit over a year ago, last January 2015. She had open heart surgery.
2014.
2014. Yeah. Okay. January 15. Yeah, January 15. Just over a year. Yeah. 2015. And she was only in the hospital for 3 days. and it was open heart surgery, but she recovered fast enough that
she was walking on the third
she
day.
was walking on the third day, and didn't she come home on the third or fourth day?
The fourth day.
She came home on the fourth day. Okay.
She could probably come home on the third day, but it was the weekend.
It was the weekend, and they released her on the fourth day.
Yeah.
And she healed perfectly. And y'all, I just have to say, in all of that time, there was never any worry or never any fear. There was just a constant, steady stream of faith and hope and love for her.
A lot of prayer.
And a lot of prayer,
And,
just trusting God and letting God know the desires of our heart. And just knowing that he was going to take care of her. He was going to give us peace, even in the midst of the situation.
Well, and I was going to say the verse that says that he will give you a peace that surpasses all understanding. That had never become real to me until...
Oh, honey, I know. She gave you a big hug. That was so sweet.
That had never become real to me until going through this, right before her heart surgery, because, I mean, a peace that surpasses understanding. I mean, we understand, like, just a normal peace, but something where you should be super afraid and really worried and really stressed and all of that.
And you just had peace.
And I just didn't. And I had so many people and friends praying and even fasting for us that I did not even feel a burden. I didn't even feel a burden to fast. I was like, should I fast for this? But I didn't feel the burden.
But other people had the burden. Other people were doing
Lord
it. Yeah.
Told some of our closest friends to pray and fast for us. And they literally carried that burden for us, and
it's so beautiful.
And obviously the Lord too, and I just felt the peace that surpassed all understanding. And I had so much grace in the hospital. The Lord just gave me so much grace in the hospital that, I mean, I was walking through it and doing everything, and staying with her and everything, but. I mean,
but without
it wasn't hard. It
but
wasn't
without
hard.
Fear. Without fear, right.
I just can't even explain it. It surpasses all understanding.
It makes sense. Oh, Bride 2015, I am so glad that this encourages you tonight. I don't know what you're going through, but I do know that God can be trusted and that he will continue to give you hope in the midst of whatever situation you are facing. Honey, isn't that a great testimony? It really is. For our family, that was such a step of faith for all of us to just really be able to walk through that without fear and just with total trust in God. And Brittany and Andy's faith was so strong, and God just gave us all such a peace. So even in situations where it seems like you should worry, like, well, the responsible thing to do is worry, it's like, no, we don't want to live that way. We don't want to live this type of life that is so full of stress and so full of fear. It's really destructive. Instead, we choose to live a life full of faith and constructive concern. There's concerns, but just to continue to live a life of faith and trust and hope in God that no matter what situation you face, he's going to get you through it. So we choose to trust him no matter what, right?
And I definitely learned all the anatomy of the heart and was speaking over each one and each thing and just claiming that, speaking just complete wholeness over her.
Well, and she is thriving and doing so well. So she's just over a year after her surgery, and Brittany and Faith and Andy went and gave cookies to the surgeons and the nurses just to thank them, for a really great year post-op, and she's got her little scar, but they call it her miracle spot, which I love that, her miracle spot. You guys like that? So we walk in miracles. It's a great way to live. Well, thank y'all for Periscoping with us tonight. God bless you, and I'll be back tomorrow at noon and 9. If you'd like to check out my website for past Periscopes, TrinaTitusLozano.com. Oh, good to see you with us, Carlin, and I hope you have a great rest of the night. God bless you. God bless all of you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.